What's your favorite subreddit to binge read? Def. I'm a closed captioner. And it's very useful to get a glimpse into the community that I've never worked hard enough to be able to truly communicate with. Even though, I like to think, I provide them with an essential service. I want to start learning ASL. 2. I know a tad. And being able to communicate with Def or Ho in public sometimes brightens them right up. Smiles for days. Especially the older people. HFY is currently experiencing the rise of a legend. One man has put out over 120 chapters. Sometimes 2 or 3 a day. He has built an amazing universe and continues to do so at breakneck speed. I highly recommend checking it out if you are into sci-fi or general humanity. Tomorrow on BuzzFeed. Top 10 subreddits to binge while in quarantine. Ask Historians. Such a good subreddit. Legal advice. I have no idea why. I am not a lawyer and have never been sued or had to sue anyone. I just like reading it. I love reading posts in personal finance. Some posts are useful. But many of them are things like, I just got my $500 tax return. I have no emergency fund. Should I use my tax return to donate to my church? Or pay my bills? DND green text. So many different things happen in people's campaigns that I'm always guaranteed something good if I head over there. Unsent letters. I have to be in the right mood. But I can waste hours in this one. Scenes from a hat if the subject's good. The replies are bound to be better. I don't work here lady if you're in the mood for some crazy. I do work here lady if you're in the mood for the exact opposite kind of crazy. Pro revenge. So supremely satisfying to read about people getting their comeuppance. Petty revenge if I'm not in a super sadistic disposition. Tumblr and 4chan. I have, in the past, browsed one right after the other. To get a true scope for what the internet can bring in the form of entertainment. AskReddit. Well, duh. Besides AskReddit, when I want long stories, I'll go to Reddit serials. Short ones, I'll check out HFY. When I want to binge art, I'll go to Imaginary Leviathans and Reasonable Fantasy. TIFU also has a ton of creative fiction on there too. Edit. I'd recommend checking out all the imaginary art subs. There's tons of good stuff on them. Imaginary Monsters. Sympathetic Monsters. Imaginary Futurism too. For more reading. There's stories on writing prompts but you never know what you're going to get. Botched surgeries and Instagram vs reality because I'm insecure. Suffered from eating disorders. And looking at those subreddits help motivate me to keep working out plus eating healthily to achieve a healthy and realistic physique. Not the Onion news articles that you'd think are from the Onion but are actually real. There's some absolutely mind-boggling stuff in there. Edit. Apparently people are trolling the subs I put up so I've removed the links. Please be cool to each other guys. Just normal. I cannot believe how many batshit crazy mothers-in-law there are. Women who go to great lengths and will stop at nothing to destroy their sons' relationships. Make their daughters-in-law's life a living. Women so selfish. Mean. Narcissistic. Entitled. Emotionally incestuous. Jocasta syndrome. Baby rabies infested psychopaths. Unpopular opinion. Sorted by controversial. You really get an insight into the depths of the human psyche. RPG horror stories. For geeks that feel bad about themselves. Seeing the asshats they talk about there makes you think, wow. At least I'm not that. Writing prompts is fantastic. Sometimes they have short series and other times it can basically become a small novel face with tears of joy but extremely talented writers on that sub. Am I the only one that this thread is a goldmine to? I mainly use Reddit to read before bed. And boy oh boy do I have some material now. Thank you everyone. I'm high as right now and really appreciate this post. Love binge reading interesting while stoned. Some of my favorites are Life of Norman, a subreddit about writing small fictional tales about a fictional character named Norman, a rather unremarkable fellow. Unresolved mysteries, one of my favorite subs about mysterious cases that have yet to be solved. AMA disasters, a sort of museum for AMAs that have gone totally wrong. Depth Hub, a bit like Best of for really in-depth discussions. Reddit writes Seinfeld. A fun little sub where people write scenes from Seinfeld based on prompts. R. The gritty past. A great little subreddit about accounts from history not often talked about because of their tragic and often violent nature. R. History anecdotes. Pretty much speaks for itself. Mostly content from the creator of the sub who also does TGP. But others contribute too. R. Fan theories. A great sub full of some pretty great theories about movies, shows, and books. Edit. Wanted to add, R. Jessica M. Shannon. The name of the sub is pretty misleading about what it's about. But it's basically a true crime subreddit with some great write-ups by Jessica and other contributors. RBI. Reddit Bureau of Investigation. Redditors trying to solve real-life mysteries. Locked Away by U. Omega Weapon is a collection of his experiences with choosing beggars and general customers. As a bartender, I live vicariously through this business owner and his wonderfully witty smackdowns. 10 out of 10. Hobby drama is great. As is Unresolved Mysteries and its smaller cousin, Non-Murder Mysteries. I'd probably binge read Comic Strip History if it weren't for the fact that most of the posts on that sub are from me. Anti-MLM. Just discovered it recently and can't stop reading it. True Gaming just discovered this sub yesterday. And I'm really loving it. Thoughtful discussions about video games and their mechanics are very interesting to me. And it has really opened my eyes to a lot of fun facts and lets me learn some cool stuff. Just scrolling through the sub and opening posts you find interesting is guaranteed to keep you delightfully entertained. I sometimes go on Room Detective and look at a few months of rooms. It's not a terribly active sub though. Longform collection of long-form articles from in-depth investigative journalism. Seriously underrated and informative reads on a wide range of topics. Amith Asshole Petty Revenge Pro-Revenge Malicious Compliance. I am an angry person. Anything similar? Please recommend. Never broke a bone. I love how everyone who ever posts a broken bone in that sub gets a wave of hatred that is beyond logic. It is almost like an inside joke that everyone gets broken bone plus never broke a bone equals murder you where you stand. I like binging the industry-specific ones of which I do not belong. I just cannot get enough of industry jargon. Brain dumps on really specific like how to manage cash flow in a real estate company. Or really in-depth arguments between pros. Everyone is familiar with legal advice. But can I interest you in a nice Couriers of Reddit or even an Instacart shoppers if you're not into the whole brevity thing? Or maybe commercial real estate is more your style? Maybe you're a sicko who likes to read Airbnb_hosts. I don't judge. I also read some disease ones but I'm not gonna blow them up here. Outside of coronavirus, send me more if you have them. Creepy Encounters is really interesting. People discuss creepy situations they have been. But nothing life-threatening. The stories are pretty bizarre. Catastrophic Failure. Particularly the posts which Admiral_Cloudberg contributes. Where he goes into a detailed timeline of all events. Very neat reading and viewing for the rest of the sub. Teenagers. Just a bunch of horny lunatics vibing. Ask Men. I'm a woman who has been in mostly WLW relationships. But I'm open to dating men. I was sexually assaulted and I know that was because of a minority of men. I thought it would be helpful to get a perspective of life from normal men and when it comes to dating. Learn what not to do and stuff. I've taken some psychology classes and Ask Men confirmed that so many men are really lonely. They may not hardly ever receive compliments. Or have been held by someone they love. Or have felt safe enough to cry in front of their loved one. I get to see their hearts while they are safely anonymous. I also learned that men just want you to say what you want. If you want a hug, ask for it. If you want pizza, talk about it. Just communicate. Ask Science Fiction is also great. Go to relationship advice and sort by controversial. I'd recommend a nice cold beer and some popcorn to go with the literature. Tumblr. I have no idea where to even begin with the actual site but I love their humor and wit to no end. Sigh. Lately. The Animal Crossing. I just started PMAing the game and I love the things other people share. The community is just so nice and wholesome. Dunder Mifflin because I just got into the office and I'm practically addicted to it. LMAO. Literally started using Reddit again recently because of it. Lol.